Even though airline travel is far safer than traveling by automobile, many individuals are still terrified to board an airplane or even enter an airport, and for good reason. Many airports across the globe are incredibly dangerous, and today we will take a look at the 10 most dangerous airports in the world. Number 10. Climbing Mount Everest has become a bucket list item for many people. Many people spend years training and exercising before they attempt climbing the tallest mountain in the world. However, what if disaster struck before you could ever begin your climb? This is a concern for many individuals who travel to the Lukla Airport in Nepal, the main airport used by those who are visiting Mount Everest. This airport is known to be extremely dangerous, not due to crime or violence, but because the landing strip is located between several large mountains and is known for being incredibly short. The entire airport is quite small and contains virtually no exterior lighting or electricity in many areas. This makes landing on a normal day incredibly difficult, so you can forget about landing during inclement weather conditions. In most instances, there are no air traffic controllers on the side, so most pilots are just forced to use their best judgment when landing. Considering this airport is mere inches away from disaster almost every day, you may want to consider a different means of travel if you plan on visiting Mount Everest. Number 9. Kercheval International Airport in France is yet another incredibly dangerous airport, largely due to risky runway conditions. A video recently went viral showcasing the airport's incredibly short runway and dangerous location. The runway is estimated to only be 525 meters long, or around 1,722 feet. Considering the average runway in America is around 8,000 feet, you could certainly understand why many travelers and pilots fear this airport. To make matters worse, the runway is said to have a gradient of around 18%, making takeoff even more difficult. Now, if that wasn't crazy enough, the runway is also built into the Alps, surrounded by traitorous terrain and incline. Pilots are forced to navigate their way through an incredibly narrow passage of land to prepare for landing. Misjudging a landing is almost unacceptable, as there is virtually nowhere to loop around and attempt a second entry. If you make a mistake on the first landing, it could easily spell disaster for both you and your passengers. Additionally, takeoff is very difficult as well. The runway is so short that many planes are unable to achieve proper speed before attempting flight. The runway also leads to a cliff's drop-off, meaning that if a pilot is unable to gain enough speed for liftoff, they will simply drive the plane right off the edge of the cliff and, well, pray for the best. Number 8. Another airport with serious runway issues is located in Honduras, known as the Toncontin Airport. This airport is quite dangerous and similar to the previous two, as its runway is located in between several areas of remarkably dangerous terrain. To land at this airport, pilots must fly in and make a 45-degree turn just seconds before touching down. After making this turn, they must drop their speed rapidly to not miss the runway altogether. There are countless trees and hilly areas nearby that also threaten the descent, which makes high-altitude flights a serious issue for this airport. Luckily, this airport has a reasonably long runway, so approaching the airport is far less risky than the aforementioned airports. But still, if you're traveling to Honduras, you may want to pick a different airport. Number 7. This airport is likely one of the most famous on the list, as it has been the topic of many viral videos over the years and has even become somewhat of a tourist attraction. Princess Juliana International Airport is located in St. Martin, and is most well known for the beach that is located at the end of the runway. Dozens of visitors gather around the beach each time a plane comes in, hoping for a thrill or at least a strong wind gust. As the planes pass closely over the beach, water and sand blow everywhere, acting almost like a free amusement park ride. Now, you would likely assume that many pilots would be concerned about hitting the beachgoers. However, their minds are likely far more focused on the runway. That is because the runway is only 2,100 meters long, which is extremely short considering that a landing isn't considered to be safe unless the runway is around 2,500 meters long, which is still only about 1/3 the size of a standard runway. Now, much of the danger that is posed for larger planes is because the airport was only designed to handle traffic from considerably smaller planes. However, due to the increase in tourism in recent years, this airport regularly welcomes 747s and even A340s onto the landing strip. Number 6. By now, you've likely come to understand that building an airport near a mountain range is extremely dangerous and, well, unwise. However, Kercheval Airport, located in the Himalayan mountains, is yet another airport that is subjected to extremely dangerous landing conditions due to the immediate proximity of a mountain range. This airport is widely considered to be the most dangerous in the world due to an unbelievably small runway. Measuring just 1,981 meters long, this runway is surrounded by mountains that are over 5,000 meters high, meaning that you only get one chance at a perfect landing because abandoning your descent is not an option. Planes are forced to make their way onto the landing strip at very high speeds, with only 8 pilots in the world being qualified to land under these conditions. Talk about a sketchy landing. Number 5. This airport is known for being one of the most dangerous in Southern Europe, but not in the way you may expect. See, it isn't necessarily the airport or the landing strip that makes this airport dangerous. No, rather it's the main street that intersects with the runway that causes concern for many locals. The runway for this airport extends past the nearby beach and onto the waters that surround it. From here, the planes make their way onto the mainland, intersect with one of the busiest roads in the city, then proceed toward the airport. Allegedly, the only thing keeping civilian vehicles from entering the active runway is a simple stoplight. Now, there have been no reported incidents over the years, but there have been several close calls that have likely left the drivers in need of a new pair of pants. Finding an alternate route to bypass the airport is nearly impossible when traveling to most destinations. So, drivers are simply forced to pass over the runway numerous times a day. Number 4. It is extremely uncommon that your average individual would want to travel to Antarctica. This area of the world is almost entirely reserved for researchers or members of the scientific community. However, planes still travel to and from Antarctica regularly. Landing in Antarctica is extremely difficult, not because of a shortened runway or nearby mountains. Rather, it's because the entire continent is coated in this ice, including the airport runway. There is nothing that locals can do to correct this issue either, as ice is constantly rebuilding around the runway, meaning that scraping the runway or placing salt on it would be a futile endeavor. Rather than attempt to combat the constant ice buildup, pilots are trained to work around it, meaning that they have to be able to land perfectly on every occasion to avoid spinning or flipping the plane on the runway. Back in 1970, an incident occurred that involved a C-121 plane crashing on the runway. Officials in the area have left the plane there all these years later, with the plane still sitting off to the side of the runway as a warning to all landing pilots. In addition to the dangerous weather conditions, Antarctica remains in total darkness for several months out of each year. Now, this wouldn't be an issue for most modern airports. However, this Antarctic airport has no runway lights, meaning that pilots are forced to land in complete darkness. Most pilots are trained to land with night vision goggles to combat this issue, but this has still proven to be quite difficult in recent years. Number 3. Madeira Airport, located in Portugal, isn't necessarily a dangerous airport. However, it has caused some serious concern for many passengers and pilots over the years due to its runway isn't even attached to the ground below. Rather, the runway was built on top of 180 concrete pillars, with one side of the runway leading to nearby mountains and the other side leading to the ocean. The runway was built to be completely safe and in compliance with city building codes. However, the idea of a runway built on stilts withstanding the shock of a 700,000-pound airplane is concerning, to say the very least. Number 2. The United States Marines operate an airbase that is located in Japan. Many members of the Navy rank this as being one of the most dangerous airports in the world because it was built close to nearby housing and apartment areas. The civilian areas located nearby are incredibly densely populated, meaning that one slip of the controls could lead to the loss of thousands of lives. The airport only maintains operations because it is an important military base and is essential to national security. Aircrafts land at the airport numerous times a day, but that doesn't change the fact that living near this airport is unreasonably risky. Number 1. Narsarsuaq Airport is located in Greenland and is widely accepted as being, without a doubt, the most dangerous airport in the world. This airport is surrounded by thick ice that makes the runway equally difficult to the runway in Antarctica. However, this particular area of Greenland is covered by extreme wind that can easily knock a landing plane off of its course and cause it to crash. A nearby active volcano also poses serious risk to pilots in the area, as it will frequently erupt and send ash soaring into the air. This ash has been known to cause plane engines to stall or even destroy them, resulting in an emergency landing. So, what do you think? After hearing about all these unbelievable airports, are you more or less likely to consider airline travel in the future? Regardless of the obvious threats and potential disasters, airline travel is still considered to be incredibly safe and is much often safer than travel by car. But let us know how you feel in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and click the notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads.